How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Let's Play Silent Hill 2, one of the richest experiences that gaming has to offer. Silent Hill 2 is beloved for a very good reason. It's been around since 2001, and to this day, it still represents the very best that this medium has to offer. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Team Silent, the team behind this game, and what they were able to accomplish with Silent Hill 2, even if I do like Silent Hill 3 just a little bit more. Even with that in mind, Silent Hill 2 is a more important game, if I'm being honest, if that makes any sense. There was nothing like Silent Hill 2 before it came out. It demonstrates a mastery of mood and tone like no other game. It is so superb that at times it feels kind of effortless. You drift into it like fog. I really can't think of a better way to sum it up, though. Your head gets hazy and you just get lost in it. It's great. It's morose. It's somber. It's unnerving more than anything else, and there is so much to unpack in the writing and the symbolism. My intent before we get started, I know I've droned on for longer than usual already. My intent with this Let's Play is to give Silent Hill 2 the love and attention that it deserves, to really comb over it as much as I can. If you came here for shouty overreactions to jump scares, you're not going to find that here. What I will provide in this playthrough is an exhaustive breakdown of everything I know about this game, and an in-depth look at everything that makes this one of the best of the best. So, like I've done with previous Silent Hill games, I'm going to do my best to balance my commentary with a bit of silence, so you can appreciate the mood that Silent Hill 2 sets. This very long-winded opening spiel isn't going to be indicative of how much I'm going to be running my mouth when we're actually into the gameplay. One more thing, I should probably add this before we start. I'm going to offer a trigger warning up front. This game evokes some pretty heavy themes, so just a heads up about that. Okay, I've rambled on, again, longer than usual, so we're going to get things started, and we're going to actually get into Silent Hill 2, one of the best games ever.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
We start off in this dingy, disgusting-looking bathroom just outside of Silent Hill proper, and this is our protagonist, James Sunderland, who appears to be looking for someone named Mary.
In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said, Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. A dead person can't write a letter. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then, why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Does she mean the park on the lake? We spent the whole day there. Just the two of us, staring at the water. Could Mary really be there? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
James comes to the town of Silent Hill because he received a letter from his wife Mary, one which we start with in our inventory. And the contents of the letter are the same as the one that was just narrated to us, no need to reread that. We also start with a photograph of James's wife. We come to this town because he gets a letter from Mary, but she's been deceased, as James says, for 3 years. She died of some unknown disease. James, though, is desperate enough to believe that she might still be alive, so he comes to this rustic resort town of Silent Hill looking for her in their special place. Of note up here on that sign, there's Old Silent Hill, which is the district of the town that serves as the setting for the first game, and Bram's. That second one is the next town over. We know it's the next town over because a character from Silent Hill 1, Sybil Bennett, the cop from the first game, says that she is from Bram's. That sign puts Bram's 265 miles away from Silent Hill, so it could just be a typo or a continuity error. It's also, I think, a reference to Bram Stoker. Most of the street names and a lot of the proper nouns in this game are allusions to famous horror authors and filmmakers. Right off the bat, we have a lot of different things going on. We have this very dense fog, and we have just nothing but a long, winding path, and both of these things are meant to disorient you and give you a sense of isolation. You're isolated on this winding road going into town that feels kind of surreal and out of place until you come to this well, where we find our first save pad, which are just these red squares. There's something in the well. What's that? Looking at this makes me feel like someone's groping around inside my skull. It gives me a weird feeling. That choice of words is very deliberate, and it makes my spine shiver a little bit, groping around inside my head. There's some very deliberate symbolism that goes along with the save points of Silent Hill 2, those red squares that we'll get into much later. So we have the long winding road, and we have the fog. The dense fog is a convention that started in Silent Hill 1, which was a PS1 game, and it started out as a technical limitation to hide the low draw distances, but it became a staple of Silent Hill because it adds to the disorienting, unnerving quality of the town.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
Yes?
I think you'd better stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. It's kind of hard to explain, but
Is it dangerous?
maybe. And it's not just the fog either.
Okay,
It's...
I got it. I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I really don't care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going to town either way.
But why?
I'm looking for someone.
Who is it?
Someone very important to me. I'd do anything if I could be with her again.
Me too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either. I'm sorry. It's not your problem.
I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too. Aren't you looking for someone?
That's right.
That's our first character that we met other than James. That's Angela, who we meet in the middle of this graveyard outside of the town. And there's something very off about that cutscene. Her voice acting, even more so than James's, is really stilted. And you might be surprised to hear that that's deliberate. You can hear that she talks kind of like a child. The voice acting in general in this game, for most characters, sounds pretty off. But again, there is a reason for that. It's not quite like Resident Evil voice acting where you can tell that it's just either poorly directed or just straight up bad. There's an uncanny quality to it that I'll talk about more in a little bit. So now we have another winding dirt road. We're still, even though we've just met Angela, we're back to being isolated now. And yeah, as for why she talks like a child, so stilted like that, we'll find out more about Angela and about the town of Silent Hill and James and his baggage. We're gonna let that unfold kind of organically and unpack everything as it comes. There is one particular thing in there that I think informs a lot of James's character, and it's when he tells Angela that he doesn't care if Silent Hill is dangerous or not. Angela tells him there's something wrong with this town, which there is. If you've played any other Silent Hill, or if you watched my playthroughs of Silent Hill 1 or 2, you know that. But he doesn't care. And at first, it just sounds like this grand romantic gesture. He doesn't care if there's danger between him and his love. It's very romantic quality. But there's also a sense of desperation in there. There's reckless abandon. And in that reckless abandon, there is this tinge of guilt that you're only just scratching the surface of. Silent Hill characters always come with a lot of baggage, and that informs the town and what they see in the town. The monsters of Silent Hill are reflections of the inner workings of the characters, which is why these games are always so fun to read into, because there's a lot of symbolism there. The monsters tell you a lot about your own character and the other inhabitants of Silent Hill and what's going on with the game on a thematic level. So we've been running for a while, and that's, again, it's designed to make you feel isolated and disoriented. The game is setting a very deliberate pace, and we've only now just kind of gotten to the town of Silent Hill proper. And you'll notice that the geography of this town, spatially, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Also, this is very similar to Harry's beginning of Silent Hill 1, with the blood on the street pointing him towards the alleyway before he gets stabbed by all the great children. The opening of Silent Hill 2 is nowhere near as graphic or gory or just overtly threatening as that. But you'll see that there's a lot wrong with the geography of this town. All over the place, the streets are going to fall away into these vast, foggy abysses. And if you come into this courtyard, there are, I think, not one but 2 health drinks. There's one over here in the corner. These health drinks will replenish a small amount of your health. We'll get into more general game mechanics in a little bit. Here we have another save point, so we'll be saving. Speaking of game mechanics, as we follow that kind of shrouded figure across the bloodstained streets, I realize many of you may not have played a survival horror game from this era before, and you may not have watched my other Silent Hill playthroughs, so we can control our protagonist, James Sunderland, in third person, and we're going to be doing a lot of exploring, a lot of walking around the town, finding notes. We'll pick melee weapons and firearms up eventually to fight the monsters. We'll be finding items in the world and hints and memos that we can use to solve puzzles. And speaking of fighting monsters,
Is it dead? What the hell is it? It's not human.
we come to the end of this dead end and find the creature that James was following here, and James picks up a 2x4 and beats it to death. The melee combat is very, very simple. There's just your basic attacks, and there's a stomp attack that you can use to finish enemies off. You also pick a radio up here.
Oh yeah. This thing broken? What the? I'd better take it anyway. I might need it.
Nothing but garbled static. Can't really make out what that message was supposed to be. We just know that it was a woman's voice and it was directed to James. So you might think, if you've never played Silent Hill before, that that radio is going to be a puzzle-solving tool or of significant plot relevance. It's neither of those things. It's actually a very important item, and it's a staple of Silent Hill. When enemies are nearby, it'll play loud, screeching static to alert you to their presence, with a couple of exceptions. However, sometimes the noise that the radio makes is loud enough to attract monsters to you, so it works both ways. So next up, I want to kind of find my way around. We want to work our way over to Rosewater Park, but because of the geography of the town and the fact that it's survival horror, so we're going to be running into a lot of locked doors. We're going to have to take kind of some roundabout ways of getting to our ultimate destination. So we're going to head towards Rosewater Park, but let's see, this is Martin Street. So I want to be heading... I remember the layout of Silent Hill 3 a lot better than I do 2, so there's going to be a decent amount of map checking I have to do in 2. So bear with me on that. The version I'm playing on doesn't have the crazy map loading times, so that's not so bad. Actually, it's more the resolution I find on the PC version that messes up the loading times with going into doors and opening the map up. So I am playing the PC version of the game. I'm not playing on an emulator, but I can't play it with the widescreen fix, unfortunately, because it causes some sort of issue. It's still a whole lot better than trying to play the HD version of the game, and still a little bit nicer and more convenient than playing this on a PS2. I was saying before about the actual gameplay and the whole gist of that. So we have mostly fixed camera angles. We can control the camera very loosely, like we can swing it around and sweep it a little bit, but for the most part we're dealing with fixed camera angles. It gives it a more cinematic feel, and we haven't seen too much of it yet, but some of these camera angles are meant to unnerve you, because they're very unnatural angles. We're also dealing with tank controls as the default control scheme. And that memo says that someone will be waiting for us at Bar Neely's, or Neely's Bar is how it should probably read. But we now have that circled on our map, so that's our next clue as to where we're going to be going. Anyway, the default control scheme for this game are what's known as tank controls, and I mean, I'm guessing a lot of you probably know about this, so bear with me if I'm just explaining something that most people know, but it's a pretty old game that maybe some of you haven't had much experience with. Tank controls just means that one analog stick turns your character, and the other one moves him or her forward in whatever direction he's facing. Silent Hill 2 was the first Silent Hill game to add an alternate control scheme, which I think in this game is called 2D controls, and it's pretty much what you're probably used to intuitively if you've ever played a modern third-person game before. So we're in Neely's Bar, we pick a map up here, but we already have a map, we picked that up in the blue car earlier. So, what this map does us is it points us over to Martin Street, which gives us a clue as to where to go next. It also circles the Woodside Apartments. So we just have something to copy onto the map, and then we turn around and we find this in ominous red writing on the wall. There was a hole here. It's gone now. That is one of the most iconic messages in the entire game, and nobody really knows for sure what it means. There are a litany of theories about that, but it is totally ambiguous. Nobody really knows what that means. There was a hole here, it's gone now. Holes tend to be a prevalent theme here in Silent Hill 2, as is descent. There's tons of speculation that adds up to just pretty much random guessing about what it could mean, or why that message is even there, but I think the randomness of it is what makes it kind of eerie. It's not really threatening, but it is a little bit eerie. You can fill in the blanks whichever way you like, and whatever your imagination comes up with is always going to be more terrifying than anything they could actually, literally show you. It's one very tiny way that the psychological horror of Silent Hill 2 works. Whoa. That's something that we didn't see the first lying figure, which is the name of that monster type. We didn't see the first one do that, but they'll start doing that from now on. They can hide under cars, they can either crawl around prone and make that very eerie, kind of squeaky bicycle tire noise. They hide under cars sometimes. I'll talk a lot more about the symbolism of the lying figure eventually, when it makes more sense to, as the plot unfolds and we learn more about James and what he's doing here in Silent Hill, what our goal and what our purpose is. But we have the apartment key from Martin Street, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually head over to the apartments, which I should find the entrance somewhere up the street, right here, I believe. Yep. So we use the apartment key, which luckily, unlike Resident Evil, we don't have to go into the inventory to manually use the key, and we get to the apartments, which is one of the first major sections of the game. You turn to the left, and you pick up the very first map of the apartments. And to the right, we can save our game. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.